What's up, nurse family? It's your girl Natural RN here. Today I'm going to talk to you all about the Periop 101 program. I just recently gone through this program, so I kind of wanted to explain to you guys what it is and what it's all about. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please keep watching. All right, guys, so let's start off with what is the Periop 101 program. And I'll be looking down because I did jot down some notes because I can kind of forget things sometimes, so just bear with me. But the Periop program is just a nationwide educational program that trains and educates nurses to work in the perioperative or surgery world, basically. It's for people who are already nurses, registered nurses, in whatever field that they're currently working in, but they don't have any OR experience. So that's where the Periop 101 program comes into. So this curriculum was created by the Association of Perioperative Registered Nurses, or also referred to as AORN. It's a 5-month program. My program was 5 months, and it just kind of combined, classroom time spent in the OR to kind of get that visual and hands-on training, and also time learning online modules, which I will come back to that. So at the end of the Periop 101 training, you have a Periop 101 final exam, and it's about 115 questions. You have about 4 hours to take it and 3 tries, and you need to make at least an 80% or higher. So after you take your exam and pass it, they'll have like a little small ceremony, graduation type thing for you and your class that you're in with. And it's just kind of a celebratory thing that you guys came through the training program, you guys have all passed. And it's just really nice that they do that for you because you feel accomplished afterwards. But after all that's over, you get to either choose a specialty that you would like to be placed in, or you're just simply placed in a specialty where there is a need, just kind of depending on your location. I work at a pretty big hospital, so there were options offered to us. So we kind of had a say, pick your top 3 choices. What specialty did you like the most, from 1 to 3? So you pretty much got your choice at where I'm at. So I was happy about that because I chose spine team. When we weren't being, trained in the classroom, or we weren't working on modules, we were always in the OR, doing training there. We would get assigned a preceptor, and each week we'd have like a rotation. Like this week, they may want us to work in vascular surgeries, and the next week they may want us to do ortho or urology or something like that. They just kind of wanted to make sure that we get through all of the specialties in the surgeries. So just to kind of get a little bit more in depth of what my day-to-day was in the perioperative program. So for one thing, when we weren't working in the classroom or working on online modules, we were in the OR. So my day would consist of, I would get to work, have to be there at 6:30 in the morning, would report to the assigned place, and I would kind of link up with my preceptor at the time, because they kind of had a rotation schedule each week. Like this week they may want you to work in all vascular surgeries, where the following week you may do all ortho cases, just continue to rotate until you get through all of the specialties, because they kind of want you to be exposed to everything, which I kind of really like that, because you kind of get to see what you like and what you don't like. Because I definitely had things that I did not care for. But like I said, you do get a preceptor, and each day that each week that you're in the OR, you may have goals assigned also. So from the classroom setting, they may tell you, okay, this week we want you to focus on positioning the patients, like how to position them for the surgery that they're going to have, like lateral, like on their side or on their stomach, or, you know, just however the position is needed to best do the surgery. Then the next week, or the next couple of days, we may focus on, you know, prepping the patient, or how to prep the surgical site for the surgery and sterile technique and things like that. I actually have my notebook here. It was quite helpful that they gave us, because you literally kind of always knew what to expect and what was going on. Like, it's like a whole like binder. So, but each week you kind of knew what your goals were, what you were going to do for that day or do for that week. Just a lot of good information in here. It even talked about kind of what you were going to do on your classroom day, which I'll get into that now. So classroom day for us at my program was 1 day a week. I know ours was on Tuesdays. So one whole day a week we would just be in the classroom. We wouldn't see the OR. You know, we would see the OR if it had to do with our classroom, what we're talking about in the classroom. Like, for instance, if we were talking about surgical equipment that day, we would talk about it in the classroom, and then we would go into the OR and kind of look at the surgical equipment and kind of get a little bit hands-on experience of what we just talked about in class. But it wasn't like we would, you know, go in the OR on classroom day and, you know, observe or participate in anything. It would be like a total empty OR, just kind of for us to look at the surgical equipment or things like that. So, but yeah, it was 1 day a week. It was on Tuesdays. And in that classroom time, we just kind of, you know, discussed things that we've seen in the OR. Also, that was a time for if we had questions about things that we saw in the OR that might not kind of correlate with what we've been taught, which that happens. But it was also a time that reps would come in, like surgical reps that sell surgical equipment. They'd come in, they'd talk to us about the equipment that they were using in the OR and how it works. They would, you know, show us and let us volunteer to work certain things. That was really cool. We also had to do like projects and like presentations and things like that. Like, it was real like classroom type stuff. But I love stuff like that, so I was really excited. So we also at that time would perform checkoffs. Like, we'd have like mannequins where we would do insert Foley catheters, or where we would actually use things to prep the surgical site, like ChloraPrep or DuraPrep or things like that. They would kind of show us how to do it. Then we would do it on checkoff day, and if we did it correctly, we would get checked off on that. Like, okay, you've been checked off. We watched you do it. You did it correctly, so let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so kind of back to the day-to-day thing. So not classroom day, but just every other day that I would have to be at work at 6:30 and report to my preceptor and go into the OR. We would work in the OR from 6:30 up until about noon, and then we would take lunch, and then we wouldn't go back to the OR for that day. We would immediately after lunch, we would go work on kind of what I've been talking about a little bit throughout this video, which was online modules. Y'all, these online modules. I had like a love-hate relationship with them, because they're so long and tedious, and there's so much information in them, but they're so helpful. Like, when it came time to like take the final exam, I was so thankful for those modules, because they really did help. But the online modules are essentially just online learning. So you get on there, whatever your assignment is for that day or that week, or pretty much that day, because each day we had a different module. But you would get online, log in, and there would just be all of this reading material that you had to read and retain the information, because at the end of that reading material, you had like a little small exam over everything that you had just read. I think it was like 10 questions at the end of the modules, I believe. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Like if you had a really short module, you might have less questions, if I can remember that correctly. But yeah, so I'm the type of person that like, I feel like I'm going to see this stuff again. So let me take notes. So I definitely took notes on those modules, the questions. Like I filled up an entire notebook with those modules. Just because, when you know that you're going to take an important exam at the end of something, and you've worked so hard for 5 months, you don't want to fail. So, you research things like, what to study for the final exam for the Periop 101 program. And a lot of people were saying, the modules help them. So I like, okay, let me make a note of that. The modules, I am going to pay attention to those modules. And I was really glad that I did, because I passed on the first try. So, as did my whole entire class, because it really wasn't that bad. It's scary because it's unknown and you're like, oh gosh. And then you think about the NCLEX, and it's nothing like the NCLEX, but you kind of build yourself up to be like, oh gosh, last time I took an important test for nursing, it was the NCLEX. But it's really not that bad. Just use those modules. Also, it's important to know that in the binder that they give you, with all this material in there, you have this perioperative final exam study guide, which was also very helpful. It kind of went along with the modules, so I definitely would also pay attention to that, and take notes on this study guide like as you go through, because you going through the modules, you hear something that correlates with the study guide, you just kind of write down beside what's on the study guide. So I would say that those two things, the study guide and the modules, definitely are going to help you to pass your final exam. So yeah, guys, I hope this video was very informative for you, for anyone looking up any information about the Periop 101 program. I just kind of generally talked about a little bit of my experience with it. I, loved going through the process. I feel like it really helped in what I do now as a nurse circulator. And I just really liked how the program was set up. There's definitely a lot of information about the Periop 101 program. I'll probably link some things in my description box to kind of help you guys out. But that's all for this video, and I hope that you all liked it. If you did like it, please like, and also feel free to comment and definitely subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Bye.